People suddenly change. Be ready to survive alone. Denzel Washington, Stoicism. True strength is the ability to stand alone. Life has a way of surprising us with people who change unexpectedly, sometimes without a word of warning. Imagine this. One day, those you rely on are there beside you, and the next they're gone. In a world where relationships can shift like sand, and loyalty can fade overnight, inner resilience isn't a choice. It's survival. In today's video, we'll explore why mastering self-reliance and inner strength is essential for thriving alone. With insights inspired by Denzel Washington and the timeless teachings of Stoicism, we'll dive into how to prepare yourself for life's toughest emotional tests. Welcome to Stoic In Your Life, where we don't just teach you to cope with change, we prepare you to rise above it, stand strong, and remain unshaken no matter who comes and goes. If you've ever felt the sting of unexpected change, you're not alone. And today, we're here to show you how to be ready for it. Let's get started. 1. People are unpredictable and can change. The only constant in life is change. People are unpredictable. They can change in ways we never anticipate. One day they're supporting us, and the next, they may be distant or even disappear entirely. It's part of human nature. People evolve, face challenges, and sometimes grow in directions that take them far from who they once were. As men living in a world filled with unexpected twists, understanding this reality is essential. The Stoics teach us that we can't control the behavior of others, but we can control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By accepting that people will sometimes shift, grow, or leave without notice, we free ourselves from the grip of resentment or confusion and instead focus on what we can control, our own reactions and inner resilience. Letting go of the need for others to stay the same takes courage, but it's a skill that brings immense freedom. In today's fast-paced world, relationships may change as quickly as technology, careers, or even our own values. Expecting people to be a constant source of stability is a trap that leaves us vulnerable to disappointment and bitterness. Instead, embracing the Stoic idea of amor fati, loving one's fate, allows us to accept life as it unfolds. Seneca put it well, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." When someone changes or exits our lives, it may feel like a loss, but it's also an opportunity to strengthen our independence and resilience. Rather than clinging to the past, we can focus on refining ourselves, just as friction polishes a stone. By choosing to adapt and grow, we reinforce our own foundations, ensuring we're not dependent on the choices or whims of others. To truly thrive, we must anchor ourselves in self-reliance. Just as a strong tree remains rooted while its branches sway in the wind, we too can learn to stay grounded no matter what storms come our way. In a world where people might leave without explanation or shift in unexpected directions, our inner strength is the one thing we can always depend on. Modern life often brings challenges to our sense of stability, from relationships ending to career shifts, and relying on someone else to be our rock is risky. We need to be our own support system. Epictetus reminded us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By cultivating self-mastery, we become resilient to the changes that others may bring into our lives. Relationships and friendships are valuable, but our sense of self shouldn't be tied to anyone else's presence. The next time you're faced with someone's sudden change, remember that it's part of life's design, not a personal failure. Instead of resisting, choose to see it as a test of your resilience. Life will test our strength in countless ways, and the more we train ourselves to accept this, the better prepared we'll be to face any challenge. And as you build this foundation of resilience, remember that every moment of growth makes you more capable of thriving independently. Self-reliance isn't just about enduring the storms. It's about standing tall and unshaken in the face of them. So embrace this journey, knowing that true strength comes from within. As the Stoic philosophers knew well, when you anchor yourself firmly in self-reliance and inner strength, You're ready to navigate any change, knowing that the only constant is your own grounded presence in an ever-shifting world. Double asterisk. 2. Build inner strength to rely on yourself. Building inner strength to rely on yourself is one of life's most valuable skills. We live in a world where people can come and go in an instant, where support systems may change overnight, and where the people you thought would always be there may take a different path. But here's a truth that can transform how you navigate these changes. When you learn to rely on yourself, no one else's choices can shake your foundation. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone struggle when their partner, friend, or colleague changes unexpectedly? Maybe you've faced that moment yourself, where someone you trusted pulled away, or their priorities shifted. It's in these moments that our true resilience is tested, and the strength we've cultivated within ourselves becomes our guiding force. Denzel Washington, who has been a voice of inspiration for many, reminds us to fall forward. This means not just to face challenges, but to find growth in them, to build resilience each time life tries to knock us down. There's a story I heard recently about a man who had spent years relying heavily on his mentor at work. He looked up to this mentor, depended on his guidance, and trusted him to be there to help make important decisions. But one day, without warning, his mentor left the company. At first, the man felt lost, unsure of himself, and doubtful of his abilities. He thought, "How will I handle this on my own?" But as time passed, he realized he had been learning more than just professional skills from his mentor. He had been learning how to trust himself, to make decisions confidently, and to stand on his own. The experience showed him that the strength he needed was inside him all along. He just hadn't been forced to use it. This is the same lesson that we all must learn. Relying on ourselves doesn't mean we can't value others or seek support, but it does mean that, when all is said and done, we must be our own steady source of strength. Ask yourself, are you building the resilience you need to stand alone when the world shifts around you? Life, after all, is full of sudden changes, and while we can't control what others will do, we can control how we prepare ourselves to handle these shifts. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom and strength come from mastering our own thoughts, emotions, and reactions, especially in unpredictable times. When you rely on yourself, you're giving yourself the best gift of all: independence from the instability of others. This doesn't mean cutting people off or isolating yourself. It means knowing that no matter who comes or goes, you are grounded in something greater than the actions of those around you. Think of yourself as a tree with deep roots. When the winds of change blow, branches may sway, leaves may fall, but those roots keep you standing firm. Building inner strength is not about rejecting help from others, but about creating a stable foundation within yourself so that external changes don't send you spiraling. When you have this kind of self-reliance, you become resilient, adaptable, and ready to face whatever life brings your way. The strength you cultivate now will serve you in ways you may not even see yet. So, how are you building that inner strength? What practices, habits, or beliefs are you nurturing to ensure that no matter what life throws at you, you're prepared to stand tall? Remember, inner strength is a skill you can work on every day, a muscle that gets stronger each time you rely on it. Don't wait for the storm to hit before you start cultivating resilience. Begin today, and know that when you're rooted in your own power, no external force can uproot you. Let this be the lesson. True self-reliance means standing firm in who you are, trusting in your own abilities, and embracing the journey of growth that life offers, so that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. 3. Surviving alone doesn't mean isolation. Surviving alone doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means learning to be self-reliant, to find strength in yourself rather than in constant validation from others. People can change, sometimes without warning, and if our happiness or stability is tied solely to those around us, we'll find ourselves vulnerable when relationships shift. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This quote captures the heart of Stoicism, understanding that we control our responses, not the actions of others. Surviving alone means cultivating that inner strength to remain steady even when others change, drift away, or move in unexpected directions. But let's be clear, surviving alone doesn't mean pushing people away, cutting ties, or isolating yourself out of fear. Instead, it's about building a foundation so solid that regardless of who enters or exits your life, you remain grounded and confident in yourself. Consider a time in your own life when someone you relied on changed unexpectedly. How did it affect you? Did it shake your sense of self, or were you able to navigate that change without losing your footing? These moments can teach us that true stability comes from within, not from the constancy of others. Building the strength to survive alone is like learning to stand tall even when the ground seems to shift beneath you. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom and true resilience comes when we become masters of our own inner worlds, ensuring that we don't rely on others to define our worth, purpose, or peace. Think of it this way. When you're strong within yourself, you're like a tree with deep roots. Others can come and go like seasons, and though the branches might sway, the roots keep you anchored. In today's fast-paced world, where relationships can change in an instant and life itself can be unpredictable, relying on ourselves can feel challenging yet empowering. We all crave connection, and being open to others is essential for a meaningful life. But if we're always dependent on external sources for our well-being, we risk losing our stability when those sources fade or transform. So how can we build the strength to survive alone without isolating ourselves? It starts by recognizing the value of solitude, learning to enjoy your own company, and understanding that solitude isn't loneliness. It's a space for growth, reflection, and self-discovery. When you embrace solitude, you give yourself the opportunity to know yourself deeply, to understand your values, desires, and boundaries without interference. And when you understand yourself at this level, you're better equipped to handle life's inevitable changes with grace. A powerful lesson in Stoicism is the concept of amor fati, or love of fate. This means accepting whatever happens, even the changes that may seem disruptive or challenging at first. Loving your fate, including the shifts in your relationships, can give you a sense of peace and stability, no matter what happens around you. Think of the times in your life when a change that seemed painful at first led to personal growth or new opportunities. We don't always see the purpose in change right away, but when we can embrace it, we often discover new depths of strength within ourselves. So ask yourself, are you prepared to stand strong if life takes someone away, or if a trusted relationship changes? Are you rooted enough in yourself to continue thriving, even when your support system evolves? Surviving alone is not about rejecting others. It's about recognizing that, at the end of the day, you are your own anchor. When you can depend on yourself to weather any storm, you're not isolated, you're empowered. And from this place of empowerment, you're able to form healthier relationships, connections based not on dependency but on mutual respect and genuine support. When you reach this point, every interaction becomes a choice, not a need. As Seneca wisely said, "The wise man is content with himself." It's a reminder that true contentment and resilience come from within. So if you're aiming to survive alone, start by building that contentment in yourself. You don't need to isolate yourself to do so. Instead, welcome relationships as part of your life without letting them be the foundation of your stability. Build that foundation within, trust in your strength, and you'll find that even when people change or circumstances shift, you remain steady, unshaken, and whole. 4. Pain and change as teachers. Pain and change are some of life's greatest teachers, though they're often the ones we try hardest to avoid. Yet, as the Stoics teach us, there's value in embracing discomfort and seeing adversity as an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This mindset encourages us to see challenges not as obstacles, but as stepping stones to a stronger version of ourselves. When people in your life change suddenly, or when the foundation you thought was solid begins to shift, it can be disorienting and painful. Maybe it's a friend who drifts away, a partner who suddenly seems different, or a trusted colleague who unexpectedly takes a different path. In these moments, rather than resisting the hurt, there is strength in facing it directly. Pain has a way of revealing truths that comfort cannot. It strips away illusions, leaving you with a deeper understanding of yourself and your resilience. Think about it. How many times have you learned your most important life lessons from a moment of hardship rather than ease? Pain has a unique way of uncovering what you truly value, showing you what matters most, and pushing you toward personal growth. When someone changes unexpectedly, it can feel like a betrayal or a loss. But what if, instead of seeing it as a door closing, you viewed it as a redirection? Life has a way of teaching us that not everyone is meant to stay forever. And in accepting this, we can learn to let go of attachments that may hold us back. Epictetus taught, "He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at." This lesson reminds us to find the lighter side of life's inevitable challenges, to see them as part of a journey that deepens our character. When you approach pain with this openness, you build resilience. You gain the courage to stand alone and adapt no matter who comes or goes. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with the idea that happiness should be our baseline. But the Stoics understood that hardship is not only unavoidable but essential. Modern life often tempts us to numb pain or ignore it, yet this only postpones the lessons it has to offer. The next time you face a sudden change or a painful experience, ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me? How can I use this to grow stronger? By transforming pain into a teacher, you stop seeing life's difficulties as misfortunes and start viewing them as chapters in your story of resilience. When we choose to learn from adversity, we gain a level of inner stability that no external circumstance can shake. Every painful experience you endure can serve as a reminder that you are stronger than you realize. The poet Rumi once wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Think about that. Often, it's in our darkest moments that we find the clarity to see what truly matters, to redefine our priorities, and to appreciate the people and moments we might have overlooked. Pain can strip away superficial concerns and reveal the core of who you are. This isn't about glorifying suffering, but about recognizing that hardship, when faced with courage and openness, can help you evolve into a more resilient, self-reliant version of yourself. So, if you're going through a season of change or facing an unexpected shift in your relationships, remember this: pain is temporary, but the lessons it brings can last a lifetime. Rather than running from discomfort, face it. Ask yourself, how can I use this experience to become better? Let each challenge serve as a test of your strength and a chance to cultivate the self-reliance that Stoicism so greatly values. When you embrace pain and change as teachers, you transform every setback into a setup for growth. This is the essence of resilience, being able to adapt, learn, and rise stronger each time life throws something unexpected your way. And remember, as you walk this path of self-reliance and resilience, you're not alone in your journey. The Stoics, and countless others before you, have taken this same path and found strength and wisdom on the other side. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we dive deeper, I want to take a moment to show my appreciation for each of you. It's truly a pleasure to have you as part of our community. If you feel comfortable, please share your personal story or reflections with us. And if you're unsure of what to say, just drop a comment saying, "I am a newbie," if you're new here, or "I am Stoic," if you've been with us for some time. Every interaction not only lets us know you're here, but it's also a powerful motivation that drives us forward. So, let's continue this journey together with strength and resilience, shall we? 5. Your response to change is your power. When life throws unexpected changes your way, remember this. Your response to change is your true power. You can't always control the shifts around you. People will change, circumstances will turn on a dime, and life's path will often diverge from what you envisioned. But here's the key. While you might not control the change, you do control how you respond to it. Epictetus, a great Stoic philosopher, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom reminds us that in every challenge or sudden change, we hold the ability to shape our response, to find strength within, and to choose resilience over despair. Think about a time when you faced an unexpected change, a sudden breakup, a career setback, or a close friend who drifted away. How did you handle it? Did you let the situation control your emotions? Or did you take a moment to breathe, refocus, and decide how you wanted to respond? These moments of choice define our growth. Life may not go the way we planned, but we have the power to adapt, to reframe the situation, and to emerge stronger. Consider the story of a man whose business partner abruptly left their joint venture. This partner was someone he trusted deeply and had relied on for years, and overnight, that support was gone. At first he felt overwhelmed and betrayed, but then he remembered something powerful. He still had control over his next move. Instead of letting the loss define him, he chose to focus on his own abilities, on his drive, and on the goals he could pursue independently. He poured his energy into rebuilding, and eventually, he built something even stronger. This story isn't unique. Many of us experience these moments where we're left standing alone in the face of change, wondering how to move forward. The secret lies in reclaiming that power within us, seeing each obstacle as an opportunity for growth rather than defeat. When faced with change, ask yourself, what can I control here? How can I respond in a way that strengthens me? This mindset shift transforms challenges into stepping stones. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When you choose to see change as part of your path rather than a barrier, you unlock your resilience. In today's fast-paced world, where relationships, careers, and situations can shift in an instant, grounding yourself in your response is like having an anchor in a storm. You're choosing not to be a victim of circumstance, but a creator of your own narrative. So, how can you use this idea practically in your life? Start by embracing small changes rather than fearing them. If something doesn't go as planned, pause and consider your options. Think about what you want your reaction to say about you. Remember that it's not the situation, but your response to it, that defines your resilience. And as you navigate these shifts, you'll find that you're building a kind of inner power that can't be easily shaken. People will change, life will present challenges, but by choosing how you respond, you remain constant, grounded in your own strength and values. The message is simple. Your power lies in your response. When you recognize this, you stop feeling helpless and start seeing every change as an opportunity to grow. Your reaction becomes a tool for resilience, shaping who you are and who you're becoming. So, the next time life changes unexpectedly, ask yourself, what can I control here, and how will my response reflect the person I want to be? By embracing this approach, you're not just surviving change, you're thriving through it, turning every challenge into fuel for growth. 6. Cultivate self-identity, independent of others. To navigate a world where people constantly change, it's essential to cultivate a self-identity that's independent of others. If your sense of self is always tied to the people around you, whether it's family, friends, or colleagues, you risk losing yourself when they inevitably change or drift away. The Stoics understood this deeply, and Marcus Aurelius advised, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." This message is clear. Your identity, values, and sense of worth must come from within, not from the approval or stability of those around you. Ask yourself, Who are you when you're alone, without the influences of others shaping your choices and opinions? That's where your true identity lives, and finding it requires taking time to explore your beliefs, principles, and passions without external validation. Consider how often in modern life we measure our worth by how others view us. Social media, workplace approval, or family expectations can easily make us feel that we're only as valuable as others say. But this dependency on external validation can make us feel lost when these relationships shift, or when someone suddenly isn't there to reinforce our identity. Think about a tree that stands firm, even as the seasons change. In spring, it blossoms. In fall, it sheds its leaves, and in winter, it's stripped bare. Yet, no matter the season, the tree's essence remains the same. You too must learn to be like that tree, maintaining a core identity that stands strong, even as the people and circumstances around you evolve. Epictetus reminds us, we are disturbed not by events, but by the views we take of them. When people's actions or opinions start to influence how you see yourself, it's time to look inward and reinforce your own values. Who do you want to be, regardless of others' opinions? What qualities do you want to uphold in your life, even if no one else validates them? Developing a strong self-identity requires that you spend time with yourself, without distractions, learning who you are at your core. A strong self-identity also allows you to experience relationships more fully, without being dependent on them. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you can enjoy others' company without letting their opinions or presence dictate your worth. This independence doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means building relationships from a place of inner strength rather than neediness. Imagine how much more enriching connections can be when they're based on mutual respect, not on one person's need to feel whole through the other. This isn't easy, but like anything worthwhile, it takes practice. Start by spending time alone and doing things you love simply for the joy they bring you. Ask yourself regularly, am I doing this because it aligns with who I am, or because it's what others expect? These reflections help you reconnect with your inner self, strengthening your identity so that no matter who changes or walks away, you remain grounded in your own values. This journey to self-reliance, as difficult as it may seem, ultimately leads to freedom. Seneca once said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." When your sense of self comes from within, you're no longer chained to the changing opinions or actions of others. You can approach life with confidence, knowing that who you are does not depend on anyone's approval. So, if you're building a self-identity independent of others, remember this. Your value comes from the person you choose to be and the principles you choose to uphold. Embrace your individuality, live by your values, and know that while others may come and go, the essence of who you are will remain, a steady guide through all of life's changes. The question is, are you ready to stand alone, confident in who you are, even when the world around you shifts? By cultivating this sense of independence, you're not only ready to survive alone, but to thrive, no matter who enters or leaves your life. Let this journey strengthen you, as you learn that the truest, most lasting form of validation is the one that comes from within. 7. Embrace change as a part of life's journey. Embracing change as a part of life's journey is essential if we're to navigate life with resilience and purpose. Change is the only constant, and yet, it's something we often resist, clinging to a sense of familiarity and security. But as Heraclitus wisely said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man." This speaks to the nature of life itself. Everything and everyone around us is constantly evolving, including ourselves. People will come and go, relationships will shift, and circumstances we once counted on may disappear, sometimes with little warning. Yet when we understand that change is not an interruption to the journey but part of its very fabric, we can approach life's inevitable transformations with greater acceptance and less resistance. Think of it this way. Resisting change is like trying to hold back a river with your bare hands. It's exhausting and ultimately futile. Instead, learning to adapt, to flow with the current rather than against it, allows us to move through life with greater peace and flexibility. In modern life, change is especially rapid. Technology advances, careers evolve, and social dynamics shift constantly. We're living in a time where entire industries can transform within a decade, where friendships and relationships are sometimes as transient as the digital platforms that connect us. But what if, instead of fearing these shifts, you saw them as opportunities for growth? Ask yourself, how can this change help me become better? What new strengths can I develop because of it? This mindset doesn't just make change easier to bear, it transforms it into a tool for personal evolution. Consider a story of a man who worked in the same company for over 20 years, developing a deep sense of comfort and identity tied to his role. When the company restructured, he suddenly found himself out of a job, and the stability he'd relied on was gone. Initially, the change was devastating, but as he began to explore new opportunities, he discovered skills and passions he'd never tapped into before. He reinvented his career, and in doing so, reinvented himself. This is the power of embracing change. It allows us to find parts of ourselves we may have never known if life hadn't pushed us out of our comfort zones. The Stoics believed that change is essential for growth. As Marcus Aurelius put it, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Accepting that everything is in flux doesn't mean we become detached or indifferent. It means we approach life with an open heart, ready to adapt and evolve. Embracing change also means understanding that no one and nothing is guaranteed to remain the same. Just as seasons shift, so do the people in our lives, their priorities, and sometimes their feelings toward us. Instead of holding on too tightly to any one relationship or outcome, consider how liberating it could be to let things evolve naturally, to allow people and situations to come and go without feeling that their presence or absence defines you. This doesn't mean that change is easy. It often brings discomfort and uncertainty. But remember, growth rarely happens within comfort zones. When life challenges you with change, it's also giving you a chance to become more resilient, adaptable, and wise. By accepting change as part of life's journey, you're not only preparing yourself to navigate loss and transformation, but also setting yourself up to recognize and seize new opportunities that come with these transitions. Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end," reminding us that each change is also a doorway to something new. So how are you responding to the changes in your life? Are you clinging to the past, trying to preserve something that's naturally evolving, or are you welcoming change as part of your growth? Embracing change means letting go of rigid expectations and allowing life to unfold, trusting that, even when the path seems uncertain, it's leading you exactly where you need to be. The lesson here is simple but profound. Accept that change is part of the journey, and rather than resisting, learn to grow from it. When you adopt this mindset, you'll find that life's challenges become less daunting and more like invitations to step into your potential. Embracing change isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, about finding strength and joy in every twist and turn along the way, knowing that each step forward, no matter how uncertain, is leading you toward becoming the person you're meant to be. 8. Learn to thrive in your own company. Learning to thrive in your own company is one of the greatest skills you can develop in life. In a world where connections come and go, and people's paths often diverge from ours, the ability to feel content, even fulfilled when you're alone, can be transformative. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This wisdom speaks to the power of being at peace with yourself, without relying on others to fill your sense of purpose or happiness. Ask yourself, how comfortable are you in your own company? Are you able to spend time alone, enjoying the solitude, or do you constantly seek distraction to avoid being by yourself? Many people today struggle with being alone, and the urge to fill every quiet moment with noise, screens, or social interactions can prevent them from discovering their inner strength. In modern life, it's easy to rely on external validation and endless social connections to feel valued. We have social media likes, instant messaging, and the ability to reach others 24/7, making it rare to spend uninterrupted time with ourselves. But what if, instead of viewing alone time as something to avoid, you saw it as a chance to grow? A story comes to mind of a man who, after years of constantly being surrounded by people, faced a period where he had to live alone. At first, he found it uncomfortable, even unsettling. But over time, he began to notice that this solitude allowed him to understand himself better. He learned his true interests, what he valued, and where he wanted to go in life without anyone else's influence clouding his mind. This time alone became a season of self-discovery, and he came out of it feeling more confident and whole than ever before. This isn't a unique story. It's something each of us can experience if we choose to embrace our own company. Thriving in your own company doesn't mean you shut others out or avoid relationships. Instead, it means you create a foundation of self-worth and self-understanding so strong that you're not dependent on others to feel complete. Seneca wisely said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." Recognizing that fulfillment lies within you, rather than in the presence or approval of others, is key to lasting happiness. When you cultivate this sense of inner peace, you'll find that relationships become more enriching because you're entering them from a place of strength, not need. This inner strength also means that if people around you suddenly change or drift away, you're able to stand firm, grounded in who you are, instead of feeling shaken or lost. Ask yourself, what activities, hobbies, or goals make you feel alive even when you're alone? Can you create moments of joy and peace without needing someone else by your side? These questions guide you to understand what truly fulfills you. Embracing solitude allows you to find clarity in your own values, beliefs, and passions. Think of it as a journey inward, where you connect with the essence of who you are. In the words of Epictetus, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." By learning to enjoy your own company, you're choosing freedom from the need for constant companionship or approval. The lesson is this: thriving in your own company means you become your own source of joy, peace, and strength. You're not relying on others to validate your worth. Instead, you're building a strong, resilient foundation within yourself. So the next time you find yourself alone, take it as an opportunity rather than a void to be filled. Use it to deepen your understanding of yourself, to pursue things that bring you genuine joy, and to remind yourself that no matter who comes or goes in your life, you have the power to remain whole. This inner resilience is invaluable in a world that is always changing. When you thrive in your own company, you're ready for anything life brings your way, and you're cultivating a self-reliant happiness that will stand the test of time. This revised content uses relatable examples, engaging questions, and Stoic wisdom to convey the importance of self-reliance and contentment in solitude, while encouraging reflection and inner growth. If you've made it this far, you're truly building the strength to stand on your own. Drop a comment saying, "I am resilient," to show you're ready for this journey of self-reliance and inner strength. Stay with us, there's so much more ahead. 9. Establish a foundation of self-reliance. The ancient Stoics believed that real strength comes from within, a fortress you build and maintain that allows you to withstand the uncertainties and upheavals around you. Establishing a foundation of self-reliance is critical, especially as people change, relationships evolve, and the predictable can suddenly shift. Epictetus advised, "No man is free who is not master of himself," reminding us that reliance on others for stability or happiness is a vulnerable place to be. Self-reliance is not about isolation. It's about creating a foundation so solid that you're not swayed or shaken by external factors. Because no matter how deeply connected you are to others, you cannot control their actions or decisions. In fact, one of the truest signs of strength and self-respect is knowing that, even if all support were to fall away, you would remain steadfast, To foster this kind of independence, first focus on building a mental toolkit grounded in Stoic practices. For instance, Marcus Aurelius noted, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By developing a strong, resilient mindset, you're investing in a type of emotional and mental self-sufficiency that isn't affected by anyone else's decisions or approval. In this way, self-reliance becomes a wellspring of confidence and clarity. As you cultivate this quality, you start making choices aligned with your values, rather than waiting for someone else to approve or validate them. This clarity creates a sense of inner peace that no external validation can replace. Equally essential is the practice of self-sufficiency in your everyday life. This can mean something as straightforward as developing practical skills, managing finances responsibly, or setting up a life that doesn't hinge on the presence or absence of others. There's a profound liberation in knowing that your happiness and fulfillment do not depend on others' whims or actions. This is not to advocate for complete independence from community or relationships. Stoicism itself emphasizes the importance of contributing to society and forming meaningful bonds. However, these relationships are strongest when built from a place of self-reliance, where each person contributes not out of need but out of a shared purpose. Self-reliance also involves emotional resilience, a preparedness to handle unexpected events and disappointments without falling into despair. People might leave, betray, or disappoint you. As Seneca once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." By building a life rooted in self-reliance, you shield yourself from the emotional upheaval that can accompany these changes. Instead of viewing change as a loss, you start to see it as a reminder of life's impermanence and as an opportunity for personal growth and introspection. Modern life, especially for men navigating complex personal and professional landscapes, is full of uncertainty, and the expectations placed on men to be providers, protectors, and leaders can sometimes leave little room for dependency. Self-reliance is a way to honor these responsibilities without feeling encumbered by them. It's the difference between holding the weight of responsibility willingly rather than carrying it as a burden. Remember, relying on others can bring comfort, but it can also create dependence. True freedom and strength lie in building the kind of life where you stand firm, regardless of who stays or leaves. Finally, make peace with solitude. Solitude can feel daunting, but it's an essential part of self-reliance. In solitude, you learn to be your own source of encouragement, validation, and joy. As Ralph Waldo Emerson noted, "Nothing can bring you peace but yourself." Embrace this time to reflect, to grow, and to understand who you are at your core, without distraction. The greatest journey of self-reliance begins with the confidence that you, alone, are enough. It is here, in the quiet strength of solitude, that you find your most unbreakable foundation. When people change or leave, when circumstances shift, your foundation of self-reliance will remain strong, a beacon in the uncertainty, a fortress in the storm. 10. Prepare for life's tests and build resilience. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges at us, and it's during these moments that our strength and character are truly tested. Denzel Washington once said, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." When things are easy, we often coast, but real growth happens when we are pushed out of our comfort zones. Preparing for life's inevitable tests means actively building resilience, that inner toughness that helps us handle whatever comes our way without being shaken to the core. Think about how a tree survives through seasons. Its roots grow deeper as it endures storms. Likewise, resilience is about nurturing your own foundation so that when life's storms hit, you stand strong and rooted, unbroken by the wind. And here's the thing. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, piece by piece, through every challenge you face. So how do you start building this unbreakable strength? First, Take ownership of the idea that hardship is part of life's design. Accepting this doesn't make you pessimistic, it makes you prepared. When we stop expecting life to be a series of smooth roads, we start seeing challenges as opportunities to learn. The Stoics taught that every difficulty, every setback, is a stepping stone toward self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This mindset can transform how you approach adversity. Instead of feeling trapped or defeated, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I become stronger because of it? It's not about avoiding pain or pretending life is always good. It's about training yourself to keep going, even when things get hard. A powerful example of resilience in modern life can be found in the stories of countless entrepreneurs and innovators who faced repeated failure before finally finding success. Take J.K. Rowling, for instance, who faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a household name. She didn't let each no from publishers break her spirit. Instead, she used it to fuel her determination. Imagine the strength it took to continue, despite what must have felt like the world saying no. Her story teaches us that resilience means holding on to your vision, even when circumstances seem stacked against you. What would happen if, in the face of each difficulty, you doubled down on your goals rather than giving up? Preparing for life's tests also involves becoming comfortable with solitude and self-reliance. When people around you change or leave, it can feel like a loss of support. But these moments are actually reminders of your own inner strength. Many people find themselves shaken when relationships shift, but resilience means recognizing that you are your most reliable ally. How well do you know your own strengths? Are you able to rely on yourself for guidance and reassurance? Building resilience often involves spending time with yourself, learning to trust your own judgment, and understanding that you have the capacity to navigate life's storms alone if necessary. It's empowering to realize that your happiness and strength do not have to depend on anyone else. Each test life presents is an invitation to grow stronger, to learn more about yourself, and to expand your capacity for endurance. Imagine each challenge as a weight you lift in the gym of life. Over time, you become stronger, more flexible, and more capable of handling even heavier burdens. With each trial, you refine your ability to stay calm under pressure, to see clearly even in chaos, and to maintain your composure when everything else seems to be unraveling. And every time you face and overcome adversity, you add another layer to the armor of resilience. So what lessons can we take away? Firstly, embrace hardship as a teacher rather than something to avoid. Life's tests will come, and the more we prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally, the better we'll handle them. Secondly, remind yourself that resilience is built, not given. Take each setback as a lesson and don't be afraid to rely on your own strength. And finally, never forget that resilience doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means learning to endure it with grace. Life will challenge you. It's a given. But each time it does, you have a choice to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Are you ready to accept life's tests as the foundation of your growth? If so, the next challenge won't break you. It will shape you. 11. Let go of unrealistic expectations of others. In life, one of the hardest lessons we learn is that our expectations of others are often the source of our deepest disappointments. We build up images of who people should be or how they ought to act, thinking they'll always show up the way we envision. But here's the truth. People are complex, and they are constantly changing, just like you are. When we cling to unrealistic expectations, we set ourselves up for frustration and heartache, often feeling let down because we hoped they'd behave in a way that aligns with our own beliefs and desires. Marcus Aurelius, a great Stoic philosopher, once advised, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This advice isn't about settling for less. Rather, it's a reminder to see people as they are, not as we wish they were. Letting go of unrealistic expectations isn't about giving up on people or relationships. It's about freeing yourself from the suffering that comes when we demand others meet our idealized standards. Think about the people in your life right now. How many times have you expected them to act a certain way, only to feel disappointed when they didn't? We all have this tendency to project our desires onto others, hoping that they'll meet us halfway or understand us in a certain way. But how fair is it to expect others to fulfill roles we've created in our own minds? Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." When we build up these narratives, we create imagined anxieties about relationships and circumstances that may not even reflect reality. Have you ever wondered how much peace you'd have if you simply allowed people to be who they are, without the weight of your expectations hanging over them? When we let go of these unrealistic expectations, we step into a place of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you overlook flaws or stay in situations that hurt you. Instead, it means recognizing that everyone is on their own journey, carrying their own struggles and evolving in ways we may not fully understand. It's about seeing people clearly, without the haze of what you wish they were or could be. This clarity brings you peace, a calmness in relationships that might have once felt tense. Denzel Washington famously said, "Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish." This applies to relationships too. It's easy to commit to a relationship based on expectations, but true endurance comes when you're consistent in accepting others, even when they don't live up to an ideal. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean you lose hope or settle for less. It's about finding freedom from the emotional roller coaster that comes with constant disappointment. When you release others from your expectations, you give yourself the gift of peace. You start to see them in their truest form, appreciating their individuality rather than judging them against an internal checklist. Ask yourself, how much lighter would your relationships feel if you stopped placing the burden of your dreams and ideals onto others? When you interact with people as they are, you'll find that connections become more genuine, more grounded in reality rather than fantasy. This lesson becomes especially critical when you face betrayal or loss. When people change suddenly or walk away, it can feel like a shock to the system. But if you've already practiced letting go of expectations, you find strength in knowing that their departure doesn't define your worth. You're less likely to take it personally or internalize it as a reflection of your value. Remember the words of Seneca. If you wish to be loved, love. Loving without expectation means loving with freedom, free from demands, free from rigid ideals, free from the constant need for people to behave exactly how you envision. Can you imagine the relief that comes from letting go of control over others' actions, allowing them the space to grow and change without feeling tied down by your hopes? In today's fast-paced world, where relationships can feel fragile and people seem to shift with the wind, anchoring yourself in acceptance over expectation is a powerful survival tool. It's a way to remain steady, grounded, and at peace, even when others surprise or disappoint you. Life will constantly challenge us with people who enter and exit unexpectedly, with relationships that grow stronger or fade with time. The less we demand from others, the more open we become to what they can truly offer. By releasing others from our expectations, we release ourselves from suffering, allowing love, friendship, and companionship to flourish in their most authentic forms. This is the essence of Stoic resilience. Not detachment from others, but a serene strength that comes from understanding and accepting life as it is. So, are you ready to embrace people for who they truly are and find the freedom that comes with letting go? 12. Find freedom in self-sufficiency. In a world where people can shift in the blink of an eye, where circumstances can change without warning, there's one thing that remains steady and unshakable: your own self-reliance. Denzel Washington once said, "The chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, That's what's going to define you. Embracing self-sufficiency isn't about cutting others out. It's about building a life where your sense of fulfillment, peace, and security isn't left vulnerable to the changing tides of people and situations around you. True freedom, as the Stoics believed, lies in mastering oneself rather than depending on the ever-changing behaviors of others. Finding freedom in self-sufficiency means creating a life where you can stand firm, independent of others' decisions, judgments, or support. It's not about rejecting relationships or isolating yourself. It's about cultivating a mindset where you are your own foundation, and where your happiness, stability, and confidence come from within. Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This statement embodies the essence of self-sufficiency. When you release the need for external validation or material security, you tap into a power that can't be shaken by the ups and downs of life. This freedom comes from knowing that even if everything around you changes, you have everything you need within yourself to adapt and thrive. Think about how much peace you would feel if you didn't need anyone else to validate your worth or decisions. How often do we look to others for approval, seeking affirmation in our relationships, careers, or choices? Self-sufficiency means freeing yourself from this dependency. When you rely on your own values and principles, you gain an inner strength that shields you from the opinions and actions of others. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you ground yourself in positive, resilient thoughts, you no longer need to chase after validation or approval from anyone else. This inner freedom allows you to lead with confidence, knowing that your happiness isn't reliant on external circumstances. Self-sufficiency also involves practical, everyday skills that make you less dependent on others to meet your needs. This might mean financial independence, developing the skills necessary for self-care, or building emotional resilience that allows you to process challenges without feeling overwhelmed. Imagine the empowerment that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you, that your security isn't tied to anyone else's choices or resources. In modern life, where job stability, relationships, and even social structures can shift suddenly, self-sufficiency is a gift. It's the foundation that allows you to be adaptable, capable, and resilient no matter what changes occur around you. In relationships, self-sufficiency fosters a healthier dynamic. When you don't need others to complete or validate you, you bring a sense of wholeness to each interaction. This wholeness enables you to give and connect without placing heavy expectations on others. It reduces the pressure we often place on loved ones to be perfect or to meet all our needs. Instead, we begin to appreciate them for who they are, without the weight of dependency. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." A self-sufficient person lives fully in the present, unburdened by the fear of losing others or the need for their constant validation. When you rely on your own sense of purpose and inner peace, every connection becomes richer because it's no longer tainted by desperation or insecurity. The pursuit of self-sufficiency is a journey, one where you continuously build your own capabilities and deepen your self-trust. It's about developing a mindset where you see yourself as capable of handling challenges, whether they're financial, emotional, or social. This doesn't mean you never reach out for help or support. It means that help becomes an addition to an already solid foundation, not a necessity. When you cultivate self-sufficiency, you create an anchor within yourself, a steady place you can return to regardless of what life brings. You begin to understand that you're already whole, already enough, and that any support or connection from others is a bonus, not a requirement for your happiness. So, what are the lessons here? First, recognize that self-sufficiency isn't about isolation, it's about empowerment. When you depend less on external validation, you find a sense of inner peace that no one can take away. Second, understand that self-sufficiency is about balance. It's knowing when to stand alone and when to seek support, without feeling entirely dependent. Finally, appreciate that self-sufficiency is an ongoing process. one that you nurture through consistent self-reflection and growth. The world will change, people will change, but your strength lies in your ability to adapt and remain true to yourself. Are you ready to embrace this freedom? Self-sufficiency is more than survival. It's a way of thriving, grounded in the knowledge that no matter what life throws your way, you are fully capable of standing strong on your own. As we close today's video, let's reflect on this powerful message. Self-reliance and resilience are the true pillars that will hold you steady in a world where people can change unexpectedly and life can throw you off balance. Remember, strength isn't about never feeling hurt or betrayed. It's about building a foundation within yourself so strong that no matter who stays or leaves, no matter how circumstances shift, you remain rooted and unshaken. Denzel Washington's wisdom, combined with timeless Stoic teachings, reminds us that depending on others for our sense of worth or stability is a fragile way to live. Real freedom and peace come when you can find happiness and strength from within. As we discussed today, cultivating self-sufficiency is not about isolating yourself from others. It's about nurturing your inner strength, learning to stand on your own, and embracing change as part of life's journey. Each relationship and experience adds to who you are, but they don't define you. When you become your own anchor, no external storm can uproot you. So, as you go forward, remember to keep working on this inner resilience, letting go of unrealistic expectations of others, and building a life where you can thrive independently and with purpose. If this resonates with you, and you want to learn more about how to live with strength, wisdom, and grace, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos, where we'll continue exploring Stoic principles to help you navigate life's toughest moments and find clarity, peace, and resilience. Let's build this journey together, one step at a time, toward a life of inner strength and unwavering calm, no matter what comes our way. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.